not stable to do the search efforts that we would like to do. Also, today in the room, we have other people that can answer questions for you. We have Ben Miller from the Sheriff's Office, who is our unmanned aerial vehicle expert, and you will see today that that's playing a role in this, both from a mapping standpoint and photography standpoint, and it's one of the only ways that we're getting any searching done at the moment. We also have Bill Edwards, District Ranger from the United States Forest Service, here today. Chris Clark is a operations manager for Oxy USA, because there was some energy activity adjacent to this. Aldous Stroughton, excuse me, I don't know if I pronounced that right, from National Weather Service hydrologist. If we have any questions about weather issues. And Tim Hayashi is a senior engineer from Mesa County. These people can all talk about their areas of expertise, but I think more specifically the instability of what you'll be seeing today in the photos, and talking about the continued unsafe conditions with this slide are probably the most important thing. So in that vein, we have suspended search operations with regards to anybody actually on the slide itself, because it's still determined to be unsafe. In fact, you'll hear more about this, but the buildup of water that's occurring basically up here behind this large mass of earth that's coming off of the top of the Grand Mesa is behind this. There is a basin that the water's filling up in, and it's causing us major concern with another potential of a major earthen slide that would come down this existing slide. And it's enough that we don't feel comfortable having people on any part of the slide at this point. And so we pulled people off of that, and the only thing that we're able to do right now is overflights and take pictures and study those high resolution pictures. We are essentially in a recovery effort at this point with our 3 missing people. The families are aware of this. They continue to have an enormous amount of care wrapped around them from the Collbran community. It's a very tight-knit community, and they have provided excellent care to the family. The businesses in that community have opened up their doors to not only the family to serve them meals and provide them meals, but also all the public safety personnel and support personnel that are up there. We're very grateful for that as well. The family also wants it to be known, and I think it's important to talk about a little bit with regards to these 3 people that were missing were all ranchers. They were in the area doing what ranchers do. When water is affected, irrigation water is affected, it's important, and water in the west, as you know, is lifeblood here, and they were investigating why this water suddenly stopped flowing the way it was supposed to stop flowing. So their presence in this basin was natural and actually expected as a ranching activity, and we offer an extreme amount of empathy and compassion to the ranching community for sometimes the things that they face. We are working with other agencies to try to understand what this slide is like, why it's unstable, as the people that we mentioned that will be here to answer your questions can talk more about that. We're coming up with plans with these agencies to try to develop a monitoring plan to monitor the movement of the existing slide, monitor the water that's building up behind it at the very top, and develop a threat assessment of what it would look like if we actually have another major slide event, which we believe is entirely possible because of the way the water is building up there. In that threat assessment, one of the things that we would be concerned about is whether or not an existing slide or another slide would occur on top of the existing slide, and would it go farther than the slide that we had 2 days ago. And if it does go farther, then we're developing an area of concern with regards to some houses that may be in that path. That is part of our threat assessment, though. We will continue to try to manage air resources to monitor the water buildup at the top of the slide. We're currently developing plans, immediate plans for air resources to get pictures of it so that we can start measuring the amount of water that is building up and try to figure out if the water is going anywhere. And then longer term plans about where we're going to go with continued daily monitoring of that. To manage expectations about the search of this massive area is that we're in peak runoff season, and we will continue to be for some time, and we believe that, that it may be well into the summer, into a drier period of time before it is ever deemed to be safe to be on this to do more searching. That is searching with putting people in, on the actual slide. We'll do everything that we can to monitor it from the air. We did some real terrific flights yesterday with the unmanned aerial system and photography. Took 750 high definition images. A team of people are looking through those images and scouring through them to see, just to make sure that we can't spot anything that needs our immediate attention. And so far we haven't found anything like that. We've only been able to map the lower half of the slide. Part of our challenge is to map the upper half of the slide. We have to get to a point that's near or adjacent to the upper half of the slide to launch that asset, and that's an area that continues to be unstable as well. So we have to think very deliberately about how we go about doing that. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to let John White, the geologist, come up and talk about the scenarios that he will talk with you about, and I'll come back up if you have any other questions specific to Tim Hayashi, the senior engineer for the county. He'll have that opportunity to answer those questions, and then any other questions that you might have, we'll try to bring up the person of expertise to allow those questions to be answered for you. Before I do that, though, I just want to point out this is a visual of the slide area. That's a mapped area. That's it's not exact, but it is representative of really what we believe this slide to be. As you can see, it's nearly 3 miles long. It's 3/4 of a mile wide at the top, a half mile wide in the middle, and then it narrows in several different places. We estimate that the surface area of the slide to be approximately 706 acres. And as you know, the other piece of this that you'll hear more from our geologist is that I spent yesterday morning on the phone with officials from the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office. We learned a lot from them about what to look for initially, but we're now discovering the differences between us and that community and the type of slide it is. John White will talk to you more about the type of material being bedrock material versus a mudslide. So, John?
I think before I'll begin is just kind of make a correction to the record. I gave the sheriff an old business card, but right now we're a department with the Colorado School of Mines. So just to clarify that. So yeah, this earth flow began kind of within what's called the Green River Formation and the Wasatch Formation, and these are very weak mudstones and marlstones, which as they become wet, they get saturated and they fail. This site was, this particular landslide was at an area where there was an existing slide that had occurred back in the geologic past. Our biggest concern right now, upon the kind of the photo recon we did, is that the entire slide did not all go at the same time. There's still a very large block of material up there that has pulled away from the headscarp and has back tilted and rotated, and it's created a depression behind it now that is approximately 600 feet or 1,600 feet long, anywhere from maybe 300 to 400 feet wide, and well over 100 feet deep. And these are just kind of preliminary volumes and that we've come up with now. We hope to get some more accurate volumetrics up there, but when we did a preliminary study of how much water that would hold, we're looking about anywhere from 700 to 800 acre feet of water if that were to fill. And that's a big concern, because yesterday, in the time that the helicopter was available, between the first flight and the later flight, we started seeing ponding of water in that depression. And that's a big concern, because the toe of the slide is currently dry and it's completely sealed off the flow of the West Salt Creek. So these flows coming off the top there, and I don't know if you noticed if you see up there, you see that little white streak there? That's a waterfall. And so we're having a significant amount of runoff that is flowing into that depression right now. And so as we look at that and start thinking about what are the scenarios, kind of come up with three. One is that we will have a pond, a big sag pond that fills that basin, that is loading this lower slope here to the point where this could fail. And we don't know when that occurred. We see small seeps coming out of the base of this large block here, but we don't know at what point, as that pond is filling up, when we could get another a sloughing failure. And what we think is the most likely scenario is we'll get a small sloughing of that area, and then all that water will flow out all at once and create another debris type flow down this existing channel to the bottom. The other scenario is that it will fill completely up with water, and then it'll start flowing over the top at wherever the low point is, and you'll come up with almost the exact type of scenario. It'll start eating a channel through that material, and the water, the turbulent flow of the water will just continue to erode that channel down to the point where it will just all flow out. May not be quite as abrupt as a slump failure, but the situation would be almost the same. We would see another debris type flow coming down there. The third option is where this material is more stable than we think, and we're just gonna have a long-term pond up there, which is somewhat of a scary thought because we know eventually that will fail. So that is the big concern now, is that we will see a second pulse of debris coming down this existing landslide. And with the high random nature of these types of flows, we don't know exactly where it's gonna go and how far it's gonna go, and whether it even stays in the same valley down below. There's a chance that it could divert flow and actually flow out onto some of the meadows down there. So I think.
Do you guys want to have the opportunity to ask him questions before he steps away?
Will we be able to get him again?
Yeah.